Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1751, and today's date is December 27th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Power of the Wand. It has begun finger pointing. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about gold. Gold has been sought after, valuable, and highly regarded for thousands of years. Gold is still considered one of the safest investments on earth. Because of this stability, the IRS lets you use gold as part of your IRA or 401k rollover. Noble Gold are specialists in this type of product and have helped thousands of folks just like you to save for a happy and comfy retirement. If you would like to join them in that, call 877-646-5347 now and talk to the experts about how to get your gold IRA started, or go to noblegoldinvestments.com and start your investment in gold today. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we are seeing absolutely crazy things happening with the stock market. And it all started back during Christmas and right before Christmas when the market came down and Trump said, listen, tomorrow, buy the dip. Companies are doing great. And I have a really good feeling about this. And then the day after Christmas, the market went up 1,000 points. And everyone thought, oh, okay, it's a dead cat bounce. The market's going to come down once again. Today, we saw earlier, the market came down quite a bit. People were getting nervous. Well, that was a one-time thing, and there is no magic wand. There's no manipulation. This is how the market just works. And then all of a sudden, at the very last moment, at the end of the day, as we're getting closer and closer to the close of the market, all of a sudden, the markets turned around and everything started to get better and better, and the market went into the positive range. This is the power of the magic wand. We know the stock market has been manipulated for a very long time. Trump is sending a message to the central banks, to the deep state, that he has full control of what is going on right now. Now, again, does this mean he's going to continually do this? No. Most likely, he's not going to make the market go up to 100,000 points or 50,000 points. He's showing everyone, listen, we can control the market. We have full control right now. Remember, he has certain people in certain positions for a reason. And the plan is on schedule. But we see something very interesting happening right now. And we're starting to see it in publications like the Aspen Time, which I'll get into in just a minute, where they're talking about the Fed. And this might be just opinions, but they're talking about the Fed. And they're asking people to question what the Fed is actually doing. This is the beginning stages. This is what Trump is starting here by continually contradicting the Fed. He wants everyone to question the Fed. Why is he contradicting the Fed? Because eventually what's going to happen, as we know, he has Andrew Jackson hanging on the wall. He's going to go in for the kill, which means he's going to go after the central banking system. This is why he's dropping all this bread. Now, we know that Trump is going to meet Xi Jinping, or trade representatives are going to meet those individuals in China. But I do believe that Trump and Xi will most likely meet and form a trade deal. And it looks like they're preparing to have a negotiating team in Beijing on January 7th of 2019. Now, if this is accurate, this would be the first face-to-face delegation since President Trump and Chairman Xi outlined the structure for strategic trade discussions during the G20 meeting in Buenos Aires. Now, we have to remember, Trump is saying that they are working on this incredible deal. And think about what he's doing right now. There's been no other president that would or could or has ever considered publicly taking on this dual economic and diplomatic challenge. Not only is Trump taking on China, he is simultaneously taking on every financial interest who previously acquiesced to China because they saw no option. Only, and I do mean only, President Trump has the cunning to take on China, Wall Street, the multinational bank system, IMF, the World Trade Organization, and every vested global politician, while simultaneously taking on Beijing, the Fed, all at the same exact time. This is what we see happening right now, because the time is ticking down. The central bank system is collapsing under its own weight of debt, because the central bank system can only last so long before everything starts to break down. They can't raise interest rates. They can't keep interest rates the same, because what happens is, as more and more debt is piled on, you have to go into the negative territory with interest rates, because the interest on the debt becomes unsustainable. And once you move into negative territory, which Europe is already there, what happens? Why would you want to keep money in the bank? You would put it other places. They want you to put it in the stock market, but many people weren't doing that. Maybe people will just hold on to it. They want you to spend it because you're not earning money in the bank. You're actually losing money in the bank. But that wasn't happening either. Why? Because the central bank system doesn't allow the population to grow as the central bank system is growing in debt. It can't happen at the same time. And what happens is you see less and less jobs, low-paying jobs, and we have to remember the deep state and the central bank, they were moving all of the jobs in the manufacturing and companies out of this country because they were preparing for something completely different. So we're at the end stage of this central bank system, and Trump knows it, and this is why he's taking on so much right now, because there is no choice. Trump needs to prepare the country for this transition from when this system collapses. And he needs to make the move and take out the central banking system all at the same time. And bring back manufacturing while all this is happening. And this is a tough thing to do. Because remember, the deep state, the central banks, they've moved everything out of this country. Now, what's very interesting coming out of the Aspen Times, and we know that Trump has been contradicting the Fed, saying the major thing wrong with this economy is the Fed. If the market goes down, it's the Fed's fault. It's ridiculous to have the interest rates moving up right now. It doesn't make any sense with debt coming due. Maybe I should fire Powell. And he continually goes on and on and on all about this. And he continually tweets about this. And the mainstream media, they carry his tweets. The message is getting out to the people. But in the Aspen Time, they wrote a little opinion piece about the Federal Reserve and how it promotes foreign interest and corruption. And this is part of the article here. 1,000 million equals 1 billion. In 2017, Americans spent $58 billion for education, another $70 billion for vets, $310 billion for interest on our national debt. Imagine what $310 billion every year could do for our beloved country. Why imagine? We need not pay a penny of interest when we issue our currency. For half our history, America simply printed debt-free currency. Lincoln used the greenback, interest-free dollars to win the Civil War. It is only when the central bank, the Fed, exists that interest on dollars is created. Although Thomas Jefferson swore a central bank is the single greatest threat to our liberty, the battle rages this very instant. The Fed is part of the deep state system. We, the people, already terminated 2 prior central banks, and we are now determined to terminate the 3rd one. And it was done in the past. It can be done now. The other part of this, someone was answering to this article, is that the 1913 Act gave back to the British banking cabal the independence the United States won from the British in 1776. When you look at history from the 1913 to the present, it explains why the Federal Reserve, bought and paid for by Congress and foreign-owned mainstream media, often promote actions that strengthen foreign interest and weaken those of American people. Because the central bank, the deep state, they're not working in the best interest of the American people. They never were. Their mandate is not to work in the best interest of the American people. If they were working in the best interest, they would be completely transparent, because we, the people, have a right to know what is going on. And they wouldn't loan us the currency where we would have to pay it back, which is completely impossible. Because think about when the system started. The central bank creates $1. The government borrows that dollar, and there's interest attached. Now the government owes, say, $1.10. Well, if that is the first dollar, where does the government get the 10 cents? They can't. There's nowhere to get it, except where? The central bank. The only way to get it is to borrow another dollar. And now they really borrowed 90 cents because they had to pay back that 10 cents, but there's interest on that other dollar, which is 10 cents. And they have to keep doing this over and over and over. And before you know it, you can't pay any of this back. Every single person here will always pay taxes, which is the interest on the debt. It was created this way to enslave the people. So we could never get out of this. This is why when you look at a dollar bill, it says Federal Reserve note, because it's a debt note. Yes, it has U.S. Treasury, and they may try to make it look official, but in reality, this is a debt note, because you just don't owe that $5 or that $10 back. You owe the $10 with interest attached. And this is why many people in this country cannot get ahead. The majority of the people are stuck in this central bank enslavement that they can never get out of. And this is the way this system works. Yes, you'll have the 1%, the 5%, maybe even the 10% that kind of make it out of this system in some way, but not really, because they still owe. And they try to maneuver different loopholes and things like that to get around all the laws. But the majority of the people, they're enslaved. And this is exactly what they want. They want countries, they want people enslaved to them, because this is how they can control everyone. And here we are. The idea that the Fed right now is not working for the best interests of the people, it is spreading right now. And fingers are being pointed at the central bank. And this is going to continue. And Trump is going to be out there showing the central bank, showing the deep state, that he has full control of all manipulation. Why do you think the mainstream media and all the financial, they just don't come out and say, hey, listen, we know what you're doing. You're using manipulation. Well, they're not going to say that because it's their manipulation. They'd be calling out themselves. They'd be calling out Obama. They'd be calling out every single president and the central bank. They're not going to do it. Because the system then, the central bank system, would just automatically crash. Because everyone would say, well, wait a minute. This whole thing's manipulated from the central bank and all the presidents on? The government is corrupt? And Trump is using this against them to take down their system and wake the people up to understand how bad this central bank system is, because it is worse than we even know at this point. You think, oh, when we hear stories of the central bank, or we have the records of the central bank giving funds to other foreign central banks and doing other things and giving the Swiss central bank the ability to create currency out of thin air and invest it into the stock market to prop it up. This is just the beginning. Because this is why the Fed and the rest of the central banks, this is why they don't want you looking into their books, because they're hiding everything. Because if the American people or the rest of the countries around the world find out what they were really doing and what they're doing right now, their entire central bank system would collapse. That's why they're afraid to show everyone. This is why they have certain individuals in government making sure that there is never an audit bill passed. Don't you think it's odd that the government, the the people that are in the House, in the Senate, who are supposed to be working for we the people, don't you think it's strange that since 1913, nobody, I mean, yes, Rand Paul and his father, they try to push a bill, but don't you think the majority wouldn't say, hey, listen, we really need to find out what the Fed is actually doing. We should have an audit. I mean, it's been a very long time. It's been, since 1913. And here we are in 2018, going into 2019. I think it's time we should look at what they've been doing. I mean, doesn't other corporations get audited to find out what they're up to? Don't they have to follow regulations? But no, the Fed, they're above the laws. And it's just strange that all these people that are working for we the people, that they don't want to audit the Fed. What does that tell you? The Fed must control them. Part of the system. Everything is about to change. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.